So we are going to talk about customizations, how the customization needed for project approach, the customization needed for the tools. And we'll talk about why that is becoming more and more relevant in the current context. So we'll talk about that in this, and then what are the possibilities for customization, and things like that. Okay, so let's see. We will talk about customization approach for different methods or approaches for delivering projects. And I'll share you a recent case study where I worked with a team to customize their product approach. I think it was an interesting case study. And many of you may be able to relate to that. So we'll talk about that. And then tools customization, how the tools can be customized, and then we have a quiz. All right. And you can have your questions in the chat box. Philip is monitoring that chat box, and we'll get back to that towards the end of the webinar. So this is our monthly lunch and learn we do in first week of every month. And this is designed so that you can eat your lunch and also learn. We cover a variety of topics. We have been actually doing these for, I don't know, maybe about 5-6 years now. And we record all these webinars. And you can find recording of our previous webinars on our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and search for RefineM, you should be able to find those recordings. And by going, watching the recording, you can still earn one PDU. I don't know if you know that or not. And also I delivered several webinars through projectmanagement.com. And there are recordings on projectmanagement.com website. So I am assuming most of you or all of you are PMI members, and you have free access to that. And if you want to search for my webinars on projectmanagement.com, then you go to projectmanagement.com, select webinar on demand, and search for my name. And you will get all my webinar recordings there. So I have been doing it for, I'm thinking 5-6 years now, for the last 5-6 years. And we would have covered, I don't know, all different kind of variety of topics related to project management and Agile. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and get some ideas from you. What you want to learn today, and what are your expectations from this this webinar? So go to menti.com and you can use the code what is displayed here and answer the question. Okay, that's obvious. Yeah. Learn about customization. Anybody else? Okay, same customization. Sometimes it takes a little time to type. New tools not aware of. Yeah, now it has started coming faster. Agile, context, new tools not aware of, updating concepts. Okay. Anybody else? There are 16 people in the webinar, and I'm thinking probably at least 50% should be able to do, express. Everybody should be able to, but I'm just thinking at least 50% will. Anybody else? What do you want to learn? You must have something in mind, right? You are investing your 1 hour here. I know many of you would like to earn PDUs, which could be the reason here, right? What could be the reason? All right, let's move on. Okay, a few more came. Thank you. Thank you. And customization seems to be the heart of the discussion. All right. So some of you who are new, my name is N.K. Shrivastava. I am CEO, Enterprise Agile Coach for my own company that I started in 2011, more than 10 years now. We do Agile transformation coaching. Most of that I do myself. We also provide project management, process improvement consulting, and lots of trainings. Lots and lots of training, PMP exam prep, AC exam prep, Agile leadership, the self-paced trainings. And also we provide products that project management professionals or PMOs can purchase and help, that will help them with their project management delivery. Before that, I spent more than 20 years working on projects, delivering large, complex, all kinds, size of projects. So my journey has been in project management for over 30 years or so. And I enjoy it. And I would like to keep doing it as long as I can. Okay, all right. So what's new happening at RefineM? As I was talking about, we do webinars first week of the month. So our next one, we are starting a series on best practices for different aspects of Agile and Waterfall. So we'll start with daily stand-ups. So what are the best practices for daily stand-ups? And you will learn in the next webinar. And sometimes you think it is just a 15 minutes meeting. What's great, and you can spend a whole webinar on it, but there is a lot there. And from my Agile coaching in last 10 years, I have seen the teams that I coached, really 80 to 90% of them don't do it in the right way or don't utilize the best practices. So we're going to talk about that, and that will help you if you do that. So, and we have a PMP training course starting this Saturday. And this is a guaranteed to run training. We have enough students that we can run the course. That is interesting, is that we will cover the course in 4 Saturdays. So it's Saturdays, I believe it is 8:30 to 8:30 or 8:30 to 4:30 Central Time on each Saturday. So you can still register. We are taking registrations up to March 4th before the start of the course. So if you are looking for a PMP course, or somebody you know who is looking for a PMP course, this may be a good opportunity. All right. So let's talk about how much customization does your organization practice? So let's go back to Menti again here, and let's go to the next question here. How much customization does your organization practice? Light, okay. Significant, light, okay, light. Anybody else? So seems like most of you, whoever provided the feedback here, the interesting thing is to see that none of you said no customization. That's very interesting. None of you said no customization. So what does that mean? It means whatever project approach comes out of the box, whether it is a waterfall, PMI waterfall approach, whether it is any other waterfall approach, whether it is an agile approach, straight away what you get from the book doesn't fit. And similarly, the tools, they don't fit your organization. There are a lot of frameworks, there are a lot of methods, but this short survey here tells that it doesn't work straight away. It doesn't work out of the box, what we call. Okay, so a customization, some level of customization is almost needed, most of the time. And most of the time it is not a huge customization, as you're almost 70% of you are saying that. But some organizations may need significant customization, which is fine. It's just the unique way those organizations work. So they have to do lots and lots of customization. Excellent. So first we will talk about project approach. Customization, how that happens, or what can be done in that area. So waterfall considerations. So planning. The considerations that can be customized for a waterfall is what kind of baselines you want to maintain. Usually it is recommended scope, schedule, and cost. But then I have seen some organizations, they just do scope and schedule. Some do scope and cost. Some do all three. So I think it's important, because I did lots of projects for a insurance company, and their main thing was the cost. So they would not like the cost to be overrun. If it takes a little bit more time, or if they have to adjust some scope, I think they were fine. So cost baselining was important for that organization. Many other in-house IT organizations, they may not even see the cost of their projects. So they may scope and schedule, and then what kind of subsidiary plans are needed. PMBOK specified a lot of subsidiary plans that you see here, but which ones are important. And subsidiary plans means if you remember from PMBOK, how the scope will be managed, how requirements will be managed, how schedule will be managed, and all that. So which ones, what kind of life cycle? Is it a predictive life cycle, adaptive life cycle, and tailoring decisions, how work will be executed, change management plan, should that be there, should that not be there, and many others. So you can see that there are many considerations here that we need to think about for waterfall. The other part of waterfall is about phases. If your project is really a large project or a long duration project, then it may be divided into phases. So what kind of phases are needed? What will be the go, no-go criteria, the gates? How it will move from one phase to the other phase? What are these phases? When these are assessed, and things like that. So there are a lot of considerations related to the phases part. So first is all those several things that I was showing you. and then this is also what phases, and this will depend upon the organization, the kind of projects, and the culture of the organization. So just depends upon all of that. So when you have agile, then you have lot many considerations, because there are lot many things there. So first of all, which flavor or what methodology you will follow at Scrum, XP, Lean, Kanban. Other is not listed, Scrumban here, combination of Scrum and Kanban. What will your project follow? And many times I have seen in many organizations or many teams, they don't know anything other than Scrum. So they try to fit everything to Scrum, but it may or may not work. Okay. So it will be good to know what are the other methodologies for implementing Agile. So which one we should pick, or if we want to pick a combination. And then once you have selected that, then there are several other practice level consideration or practice level customizations. So the key part is frequency and length, length of iterations, frequency and length of planning, frequency and duration of stand-ups or length of stand-up, frequency and duration of reviews, frequency and duration of retros. Each team does it, right? You know that each team does it. Are we going to have 2-week iteration or 4-week iteration? How frequently we should do planning? Mainly it depends upon the length of the iteration. Will the planning go for 1 hour or 2 hours? What is enough? Stand-ups, I have seen mostly the stand-ups are every day and 15 minutes. But some cases they are 30 minutes too. I have seen that more often, and for the teams that move from Waterfall to Agile. So for they do that, and there are best practices around that. And sometimes the teams are spread out in multiple locations. So this is the opportunity they get when they are all together. And they may want to spend a little bit more time together. So, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Some teams don't see a need of meeting every day. They feel that if they meet 2 or 3 times a week, that's good enough. I remember going to a daily stand-up meeting to be an observer. That's what I do when I take up Agile coaching for any team. I do the discovery part, and one of the part of discovery is to just observe how those ceremonies, each ceremony is done. So so I went to that, and there were about 15 people sitting across a table. There was a phone in the middle of the table, and there were people on the other side of the phone, right? And that meeting lasted for about 45 minutes. And I said, wow, 45 minutes. And when is the next meeting? They said, not tomorrow, but day after. I said, okay, you don't meet every day? No, we don't meet every day. So I said, well, you don't meet every day and nobody was standing. So why you call it daily stand-up? So that was kind of a little fun. But different teams do, and they explained their reason behind it. And some of that was all right. And some of that needed little tweaking. So I think it's all right, whatever works for you. And if that helps you to deliver your projects effectively, that's great. Okay, so similar with the reviews, Some have very quick reviews, some have very detailed reviews, retrospectives also, and also roles and responsibilities. So if you follow a Scrum, then there are only 3 roles defined: product owner, Scrum Master, and the team. So I was asked this question in one of the teams. They had lead BA and lead QA and lead dev. So I was asked this question, what are their roles? So I said, if you're following Scrum, there is no role defined for those. There are no such roles defined in the Scrum guide. Now, you are an empowered team, and if you see the need for those roles, get together and define yourself. You are empowered to do that. Nobody from outside is going to tell you about these roles. So you go and define yourself. But the approach should be that you don't need any other role, because every team member in a Scrum environment should have multiple skills so that they can finish a story start to finish. That's the assumption of not having so many roles. Each team member is a multi-skilled person. So, and if you are not at that stage, that's understandable, because the teams are in transition. They have those roles, and so figure it out. And that's fine. That is absolutely fine. What are the different estimation and planning approaches they will use? So there are many there, and there are many other. There are at least, I will say, more than a dozen practices that can be customized. And one of the best practices that you can customize and document that. You can customize and document that. I don't know if anybody has done that, but the team charter or working agreements, if you have that, that is the best place to document all this. What agreements you have, what kind of customizations you have done that will suit your team, that goes in team charter or working agreement. So it is documented. And whenever a new team member comes in your team, that is the document they should refer to. So creating a team agreement or team charter, I think that's a very important thing. And all of these considerations can go there. All right, let's keep moving. And if you have any questions, put that in the chat, okay? Don't wait for the end. And if I see any question in the chat, or Philip can alert me, if some question comes that's the context related, then I can talk about that. Other agile consideration is scaling. Now, if you are small teams, 1 or 2, 3 teams, then you don't have to worry about scaling. But if you are a large team, 50, 60, 100, 200, 500 people working on the same product or same program or portfolio, then probably you need to think about what are the scaling frameworks. SAFe is a scaling framework, LESS is another scaling framework, disciplined agile is another framework, and there are others. And here also, one particular framework doesn't fit very well as is. I have used variations of SAFe in several places because if you want to implement SAFe as is, then you have to have many of those roles and practices implemented as is, which sometimes look to me for a team of 50, 60, 100 people may be overkill. So, but just a Scrum or just Kanban will also not work for a 100 people team. You need to scale. You need to make sure those teams are in sync, related to portfolio or related to the product. I'm working with a few teams where they have a framework of SAFe plus LESS together, the combined two. So don't think that if you get one framework you have to implement the way it is. That if you did that, you will struggle, because these frameworks are created to serve as majority of the organization, or multiple teams, and your team may be you're different, and every team is different. I can tell you, each team is different. Each team is different, each organization is different. So some level of customization is definitely needed. And then the second thing about team structure, how the teams look like, how they roll up, what are the different roles. To have teams, then you have team of teams, and then you have portfolios, whatever way it is. So need to think about team structure and governance, how the teams will be governed, how the requirements will flow from business to the teams. So business sitting at, they are outside one particular team, particularly larger teams. So how the requirements will flow and how the results will be delivered back. So that team structure and governance and frameworks are important in that context if you have larger teams. If you have smaller teams, then you don't have to worry about scaling. If you have 20 people team, do I need a scaling? Probably not. The simple thing will be that maybe you create 2 teams, and then let the 2 teams have a scrum or whatever you want to make, a very simple thing. You don't need to have say for less kind of a thing for such kind of situations. So I think it will be good to brainstorm and think about what kind of scaling will be useful, or what kind of a customization will be needed in scaling. Okay, moving along, hybrid. So we talked about waterfall, we talked about agile. In many situations, you may not be one or the other. You may be trying to implement agile while still there are certain pieces of your project delivery process that are waterfall. Here is one of the examples. In certain situations, you cannot start executing the project unless it is approved by a steering committee or somebody like that. And the steering committee will not be able to approve unless they see all the numbers and plans and schedules and all that. So in that case, you have to do your initiation and planning like a waterfall, plan the whole thing, and then present it to the steering committee, and then they will approve, not approve, whatever. And then you have a liberty to go and deliver it, or at least do in an iterative manner. Even if you don't deliver, do it in an iterative manner, develop, design, test, review with the customer. That all you can do. And then in the closing part, you release it in one go and close it. So the consideration really, which parts need to be waterfall and why? What are the organizational constraints that are pushing it to be a waterfall or agile or whatever? So this is another consideration when you decide about the hybrid part. What pieces of your project delivery process can be agile, what can be waterfall? And then that process will be all of your own, right? So let's I will share a case study with you, which I recently did with one of my customers. I cannot share their name. This is an environmental consulting company in Canada. Okay, it's not a software or IT company. They do environmental consulting. Okay, and we were hired to do project fundamentals training. That was the initial engagement. That they want a 2-day project management fundamental training. And as our process of training, we basically engage the customer, talk to them, and see if they need any kind of customization. So we engage into those customization conversations. And during that, there was a need felt that they wanted to review the current process, and they were not sure whether they were following Waterfall or they were following Agile, what they were following. So they said, okay, we'll review the current process. We reviewed the current process. And I think from there, they determined that in some cases they do Waterfall, in some cases they do Agile. So we went ahead and changed the training to cover both Waterfall and Agile, both ways of delivering the project. So we covered both, and also during the training, we developed their new approach, the hybrid approach. So we spent some time together. All the project managers were there, and we developed the new approach of delivering project. And I want to share that with you so you have an idea. So this is their current process, very linear process. But they were saying that sometimes they do iterations in between, and they were not knowing how to do this. And if some of you, this is the value stream map. I don't know if you know the value stream map part. This is a beautiful technique to understand the current process. And I do this in my all engagements, start with this to understand what their process is. So this is a very typical process that you will see: set up the project, determining the contract type, assign lead, internal kickoff, project plan, external kickoff, template creation, task delegation, technical work, internal review, client review, finalization, close. Right? This is the typical way the project, and this should not look you to be very, looks like a waterfall, but when talking to them, this doesn't work, and requirements are changing, and many times they even did not write a formal contract. It was just email and phone conversation, and the project was done. So it was very informal also. So when we talk to them how they do different kind of projects, we came up with a new approach which looked like this. So this was their new hybrid approach, and many of you may be interested in this. So there is some upfront process, intake process, or whatever you want to call, where you determine what kind of methodology should be used. So you project award, there is a leadership review, and then there is a place here which says determine initial project life cycle. And there is initial because there is a confirmation at the later stage. Is going to be Waterfall or Agile? What the project, for the kind of project, what methodology suits most? And then they determine the director and the project manager, and they confirm the project life cycle with the director and the project manager. So this is a confirmation piece. So this was the initial one. This is a confirmation piece. And there are, of course, different criterias, and I'm not going to talk about those criterias today, sometime later. But if we have a time in Q&A, and if you are interested, I can talk about it. And then you determine the technical team, and then you set up the project. And now if it was a waterfall project, it follows that, which you saw earlier, very similar one, right? It follows that. But if it was agile, then it comes in a different path. So you do internal kickoff, which is same, but then instead of project plan, you're developing a backlog and roadmap. You're not developing a plan. And then iterative deliverable planning. Instead of external kickoff, you say, okay, will the planning for the releases, and then you have external kickoff, and then you have your sprints. First sprint, second sprint, third sprint, last sprint, and then finalize, and then close. So the team they said that this is going to work perfect for them. because there are some projects that are waterfall and they were struggling to fit every project in one kind of life cycle or one kind of project process. So when we determined, when we came up with this, they said, wow, this is great. Aha moment was there, that this is really, really going to work. And this released a lot of, kind of pressure from their heads. Now we can determine it and then follow, and then how this project will be set up in their tool. They use Rike, and how this part will be used, how this part will be used. And they will be able to have different metrics, different expectations set with the customer and the team, and will be able to deliver their project in a more effective manner. All right. I don't see any questions. Anybody can ask questions. Okay. All right. Moving along. So let's talk about the tools now. So free tools. There are templates available for free online, Word, Excel, and variety of project management needs. And there are free platforms, such like Asana, Trello, Basecamp, Rike. So these are the free tools. And if they work for you, I think that is great. So, and that's the place where you should start, actually. You can see which of these tools, can work. And the free versions, they provide you a lot, but they don't provide you a lot too. So if you have determined that this tool is most likely going to work for you and you need some more features and some more customization, then probably you may have to go to the next level and sign up for the paid version. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, paid versions are way better. You can customize a lot, and you get a lot of support from the tool vendor. So of course you have to pay money for that. Nothing comes, there's no free lunch, what people call. So so that's okay. All right. Next one. So purchasing a tool with customization options. Microsoft Project Online, mostly used for waterfall project, where you need Gantt charts, schedules, and all those kind of things. It's a very, very good tool. It's a very comprehensive tool, and if you don't know how to use it, it will mess you up. But it's a very powerful tool in the context in which it has to be used. You have Rike and other platforms, and most agile tools, Jira, Kanban, etc., offer several customization options. So you can pick a tool. As I was saying, these are the tools that really you have to pay for, but they offer you much more options for customizations as compared to the free tools. So I will encourage you to start with the free, try it out, but once you have figured it out that this is going to work out, go for the paid version of the tool. And if in extreme cases where I saw, heavy customization needed, some of you talked about that heavy customization. If the out of the box tools don't provide you enough features that your work can progress, then probably you may have to develop your own. And there are a lot of code bases. There are free source code available that you can use, but then you can do it the way you feel like. In some cases, I remember when I was doing coaching at IBM, they developed their own Kanban tool.
Janet, this is Greg Midaw, and I'm returning a call from Nicole.
Hey, Greg. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So, all right. So that was about the full customization. So let's go back to Menti once again. And let me show you here on the Menti part. So how you might customize your project approach or tools after hearing this, what I was talking for last 40 minutes or so. What considerations you had? How are you going to customize? Use a combination of tools. Excellent. Yeah, that's a very viable option. Yeah, hybrid. Yeah, hybrid is many large organizations are actually doing hybrid. I have not seen any large organization doing pure agile or pure waterfall, doing hybrid. Yes, and lots of tools, tool combo. Yeah, same thing. Okay. Yes, depends upon project type, customized templates, frameworks. Yes, yes, that's right. What else? All right, let's move on to the next one here. Um, so now we will get into the quiz, and winner will get free access. So earlier we used to give $10 gift card, but we thought we'll give you more. So we have these 5 price options. So the winner can pick one of these. Okay. So let us go to the Menti. Okay, so let us have people sign up. Okay, we have 2 people signed up so far. I will encourage everybody to sign up. There are very interesting questions. And even if you don't win, it will be very interesting to participate. You will learn, your learning will be re-emphasized during the quiz. Okay, I got 7 of you here, and a few more people join to have fun. Okay, very good, very good, very good. Keep coming. So I have 8 of you. A few more. Somebody said they don't want to. Okay. Okay, let's get started. So we'll last chance to join, 5 seconds. Okay. So you need to answer fast to get more points. So we talked about waterfall consideration. Okay, so 50% of you are right. And let's say who is leading. GH seems to be leading. Okay, all right. Let's go to the next one. Okay. So let's see how the leaderboard looks like. Seems like GH is still leading. Oh yeah, GH is leading. There is some reshuffling happening. Okay. And we're not talking about the free trial. Okay. Okay, GH is still leading. Wow, that's like a winner. Let's see if GH is able to maintain the lead. Okay, yeah, I think GH is still leading. So I get this is the last question. Okay, sprint reviews are for between the sprints. So let's see where the leaderboard. Okay, let's see, there is a close one there. Okay, GH is the winner. So GH, Philip, if you can type my email address in the chat box. GH, if you send me the email and let me know which product you want, and I can set you up for that. All right. So in conclusion, I have 5-10 minutes left for the Q&A. Organization need their project management approach to work for them, and that's important for everybody. And both approaches and tools are increasingly being customized, and look for ways that you are able to customize your approach as well as your tools. Our next lunch and learn is about daily stand-ups. What are the best practices of daily stand-ups? We will do it on April 7 from 12 to 1 p.m. You can register where you registered for this webinar, RefineM.com trainings page. You can register for this course. And then we are having our, as I was talking about, PMP training course. Going back to this. So let's see, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would like to see how useful this presentation was. So if you were to recommend this to others on a scale of 1 to 10, how strongly will you recommend? Menti.com, if you can, there will be a scale that you can draw from left to right. How strongly will you recommend? Okay, somebody started that. I see 2 people. Very good, very good. I like this Menti tool. This is really good. It's very visual and it's very real. It gives real-time feedback. Okay, very good. If you have any topics that you are interested in, then you can put that topic here, and we'll see if we can create a webinar around that topic. If you want to learn a specific topic, then you can put that topic here. And now I think the time for Q&A. If there is anybody want to ask any questions, we have about 8-9 minutes left. Anybody has any questions? Philip, you can open up the microphones. I'm okay if people want to talk instead of typing. So you can unmute yourself and talk. Any questions?
Okay, I've asked everyone to unmute their microphones, so everyone has the option. And I see a question from Greg too.
Okay, let's look at how do you determine when you are doing too much customization. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question, how you know it is too much. So if that is working for you, if you are fine with that, that is not a problem. But if you have reached to a place where you cannot customize anymore, or the customization becomes too much cost and time, then maybe say you have reached to a level where you're doing too much customization. So simple customization should not take a lot of time and energy to do it. should be pretty quick. But if it starts taking you a lot of time, then time and money. And if you're asking vendor to do it, sometimes the vendor will charge a lot of money. So that is the kind of a flag that tells that, okay, now you're doing too much customization. All right. I think that was a very, very good question. Excellent question, Greg. Anybody has any other questions? And this is how you earn PDUs. And you will get the copy of the slide deck. This information is there on the slide deck too. Anybody else has any questions? Normally I keep very little time and I have a lot of questions. This time I kept quite some time for the questions. Seems like it's pretty straightforward thing. Anybody else? Any questions? Oops. Well, if there are no questions, thanks a lot for attending. I will see you in the next webinar on April 7th. Until then, have a great time. And if any point of time you have any questions or want to ask anything about project management or Agile, please send me a question.